Hello and welcome to the second episode of Gravity Driven Adventures. Today we're going to finish up the layout of the coaster of the, well, I called it Schwarzkopf coaster, but actually did some research and I found out that it was actually manufactured by Zero, another German roller coaster manufacturer, but it was designed by Schwarzkopf and has sort of typical aspects of Schwarzkopf, so that's what led me to believe that it was manufactured by Schwarzkopf. And of course it was designed by Werner Stengel, who I think his birthday was today or yesterday, so yeah, great and very, very important man in the roller coaster industry. He certainly revolutionized a lot of things, and I think it's safe to say that we're all very, very thankful for all of the things he's invented and all of the designs that he's done over the last 40, 50 years. I don't know how long he's been in the business, but certainly a very long time and a very revolutionary roller coaster designer. I think one of my first roller coasters was actually Olympia Looping, which is traveling over, or used to be traveling over fairs in Germany, and in the meantime has been purchased by the Wiener Prater in Austria, and I think the only other place that it's currently still going to is Winterfest in England. I think I must have been 8 or 9 years old when I first rode Olympia Looping, and to this day I still think it is one of the most intense roller coasters that are out there in terms of the positive G-forces. Perhaps with the exception of Intimidator 3 or 5, but I think that is the roller coaster that has set the bar, and I don't think anything is ever going to exceed it again. Which, that in itself is another very interesting topic to talk about, as I think most enthusiasts are always looking forward to the next extreme, the next big thing, whereas the GP is usually pleased with very simple things, or things that just work. I think the best example for that would be just any Bolliger Mabillard coaster, especially the dive coasters. I think, the dive coaster model is probably the one that is the most crowd pleasing out of all of them. And as enthusiasts, we just think, oh no, not another dive coaster. They're such a one-trick pony and they really don't do all that much. They don't have high forces whatsoever. But yeah, unfortunately the amusement park industry is not targeting us enthusiasts, because the GP just gets them a lot more money in. But yeah, I digress. I don't think I have actually talked about the roller coaster that you are seeing in the video here at this stage. In this episode we're going to finish the Zero coaster, and I'm very pleased with the outcome of it. I'm very pleased with the diversity of elements that I've been able to put into the roller coaster, especially considering the terrain restraints, because I didn't want to actually add any tunnels to the layout. And I find there's something quite uniquely challenging in designing these sort of roller coasters, because initially, or when I first started creating these kind of roller coasters, I thought it was a lot more difficult to get a realistic pacing. I'm not sure about you guys, but when I started with NoLimits 2, I started out with like B&M hyper coasters, B&M loopers, B&M stand-ups, and it turns out they're actually very easy to design, because once you've got the hang of how to create inversions, then the pacing is the only thing that you have to look out for, and that's usually pretty easily regulated. But with these sort of coasters where it's the variety is just a lot greater, I always found that getting the pacing right and realistic just sets a very unique challenge. And I'm sorry you guys, that was my phone, it was not yours. So the plan for the next couple of episodes is probably going to be the following. The next episode is mostly going to deal with the rest of the roller coaster, meaning the thing that we all hate, supporting it. Especially with this one, it's mostly going to be custom supports, and but you'll see that in the video. I'm not sure yet how much I'm going to be speeding that up. I will have to try that. The videos currently are sped up by 8 times. And I think the supports videos, they can be sped up quite a bit more, but I'll have to try that out. And if I do end up speeding the footage up, If I do end up speeding the footage up by quite a bit more, please let me know in the comments whether that's too quick for you or not, because based on that I can then judge how fast I can actually speed it up. After that, after the Zero family coaster is finished, I'm not straight away going to design the custom trains, because I will have to practice that a little bit before I can actually deliver some kind of footage for you to watch. But I was thinking to keep this park realistic as possible, and I'd like to sort of stick to how a normal amusement park would actually end up growing. So we're starting out with the Zero roller coaster, which presumably is one of the first or the first roller coaster in this park, and after that I think it is the most likely for it not to build another big roller coaster, but rather sort of a medium-sized wooden roller coaster, maybe another family coaster or a kids coaster even. And after that, so that's going to be the third roller coaster of this park. It's going to be a major coaster by a larger manufacturer. My idea of it is going to be that it's going to be the major big attraction in the area that's also going to attract international customers, so it really needs to be something unique. And well, the thing that comes to mind there, of course, because this park is based on Alton Towers as well as Liseberg, but in this particular instance it's Alton Towers, that I'm thinking of a B&M inverted coaster, which is also going to be working with the terrain very much. But I haven't quite decided on that, and I haven't started on it yet either, so we'll see that once I'll get to it. After that, I think I'll add a couple of smaller filler coasters into the park, but I'm mostly going to be taking care of getting a good layout and design into the actual park, which means a lot of 3D modeling with all the path and the buildings and the decorations that go in between everything. But I can only really do that once I've got a couple of attractions that I've worked on. And yeah, I think with the third coaster of the park, then you can really start to see, okay, how do I want this park to look? What am I going to make with the layout? And then I think it's really going to take shape after that. I've got a couple more ideas that I have planned or that are on my mind for this park, but I haven't quite decided yet what's actually going to fit and what isn't. And I think I'm going to reveal those once I get to that stage and once I've decided what I'm actually going to do. And one thing that I haven't quite made up my mind about just yet is whether or not I would like to give this park a height restriction, because depending on that, things like drop towers and observation decks are just not going to be possible, as well as higher roller coasters. But for now, I think I'm just going to keep it just like Alton Towers has it, that nothing is allowed to be peeking over the tree line of the park. So the layout is finished, and I'm fixing up a couple of last things and correcting things and depumping things. And you can tell me how you like the design, what you think of it, and whether it's missing anything that you can think of. But for the most part, I'm quite happy with how this roller coaster turned out. In a future episode, you may see me fix up a couple of things because I'm not quite happy with the pacing. But you'll see the on-ride soon, and I think once you see the on-ride of the roller coaster, then you can really judge, okay, how is everything coming together. And then if you want to, you can also give me your feedback of what you think could have been done better or things that I could still change up. But that's going to be it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the layout that I created, and I hope you enjoyed watching. I also hope to engage in a couple of conversations with you, depending on what you want to talk about. I think it's always fun and interesting to talk about the individual experiences that people have at amusement parks and where everyone is from. So write them down in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye.